The Odyssey post-credit scene explained. There's no post-credit scene, but you'll regret leaving early. Warning, this video contains mild spoilers for The Odyssey, but no major plot twists. If you've just finished watching Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, you probably had one question as the credits started rolling. Is there a post-credit scene? After all, we've become so used to Marvel, DC, and other blockbuster franchises teasing sequels after the credits that many moviegoers automatically stay in their seats. So, does The Odyssey have a post-credit scene? There are no post-credit scenes. There are no hidden teasers for another movie. And there isn't a surprise appearance from another Greek hero waiting after the credits. But before you get up and leave, there's one very important reason you should stay until the very end. Let's explain why. Christopher Nolan has never been a filmmaker who relies on post-credit scenes. Throughout his incredible career, he's directed some of the biggest films in modern cinema: The Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, Oppenheimer. Not one of those films included a traditional post-credit scene. Even when Nolan was directing Batman movies for Warner Brothers, he refused to tease future installments through the credits. Instead, he always believed the story should end naturally. Once the final scene fades to black, the movie is complete. That's exactly the same philosophy he follows with The Odyssey. The ending is designed to stand on its own. There are no cliffhangers. No surprise villains, no secret reveals, no setup for another chapter. And honestly, that's one of the reasons many fans admire Christopher Nolan's filmmaking. He wants every movie to feel complete. However, that doesn't mean you should leave the theater the moment the credits begin. In fact, if you do, you'll miss something very special. As the credits roll, audiences hear an original song created specifically for The Odyssey called When I'm Home. The song is performed by Travis Scott, James Blake, and Academy Award-winning composer Ludwig Göransson, who also composed the film's incredible score. On its own, that would already make the credits worth staying for. But there's another fascinating detail that many viewers don't know. Christopher Nolan himself helped write the lyrics. That's right. For the first time in his entire filmmaking career, Christopher Nolan receives a lyricist credit. Instead of simply directing the movie, Nolan collaborated with Ludwig Göransson, James Blake, and Travis Scott to create a song that perfectly captures the emotional journey of Odysseus. The result feels less like a pop song and more like an epilogue to the story you've just experienced. Rather than rushing audiences out of the theater, the music gives viewers a chance to sit quietly with everything they've just witnessed. It's a beautiful way to transition from the world of ancient Greece back into reality. If you've watched Christopher Nolan's previous films, you'll know he has always paid close attention to the music that plays during the credits. The Prestige ended with Tom York's Analyze. The Dark Knight used Hans Zimmer's unforgettable score to leave audiences reflecting on Batman's sacrifice. Now, The Odyssey continues that tradition with a completely original song that was written specifically for this movie. There's another interesting connection here. This isn't the first time Travis Scott has worked with Christopher Nolan. Back in 2020, Travis Scott collaborated with Ludwig Göransson on the song The Plan for Tenet. Christopher Nolan was so impressed with that collaboration that he invited Travis Scott back for The Odyssey. This time, Scott didn't just contribute a song. He also appears in the film itself. Without revealing major spoilers, Travis Scott plays a bard, a storyteller who helps preserve the legends of Odysseus through song. It's a small role, but one that fits perfectly within the world Nolan has created. Now, let's talk about another question many viewers have. Does the ending set up a sequel? The answer is not really. The final moments certainly leave audiences thinking about what could happen next. The world of Greek mythology is enormous. There are countless heroes, countless kingdoms, and countless stories that exist beyond Odysseus' journey. Some viewers may even notice hints that life continues after the movie ends. But that's very different from setting up another film. Christopher Nolan doesn't include any obvious sequel hook. There isn't a mysterious new villain waiting in the shadows. There isn't another quest beginning after the credits. And there isn't a final surprise designed to launch a franchise. That's because The Odyssey was never intended to be the beginning of a cinematic universe. Christopher Nolan has always preferred telling complete stories. Whether it's Inception, Interstellar, or Oppenheimer, his films stand on their own. The Odyssey follows that same philosophy. Of course, that doesn't mean a sequel is impossible. Greek mythology contains many stories that take place after the events of Homer's Odyssey. There are additional poems and legends that explore what happens to Odysseus, Telemachus, and other legendary heroes. Universal Pictures could certainly be interested if The Odyssey becomes one of the biggest box office successes of the decade. But at the moment, there are no official plans for a sequel. And knowing Christopher Nolan, it's difficult to imagine him returning simply to continue a story that already has a complete ending. If another movie were ever announced, it would likely depend on Nolan's involvement. Without him, many fans and perhaps even members of the cast might not be interested in continuing the journey. That's another reason why The Odyssey doesn't include a post-credit scene. Christopher Nolan isn't asking audiences to wait for the next chapter. He's asking them to appreciate the one they've just experienced. So, should you stay through the credits? Absolutely not, because there's another scene waiting. Not because a sequel is teased, but because the credits themselves become part of the experience. The original song, When I'm Home, provides a beautiful emotional farewell to Odysseus' journey. It's the perfect way to reflect on everything the movie has explored: home, loss, sacrifice, redemption, and the long road back to peace. Sometimes the best ending isn't another scene. Sometimes it's simply allowing the story to stay with you a little longer. So if you're planning to watch The Odyssey, don't rush out of the theater when the credits begin. Sit back, listen to the music, take in the final moments. Because even without a post-credit scene, you'll be glad you stayed until the very end. What did you think of The Odyssey? Were you expecting a post-credit scene, or do you prefer Christopher Nolan's approach of letting the story end naturally? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more The Odyssey breakdowns, ending explained videos, hidden details, and Christopher Nolan analysis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.